Hello, I am the Theory King, and for this inaugural video for my channel, we're going to be discussing who killed Jason Blossom on Season 1 of Riverdale. So essentially, I have technically 6 possible suspects, and I'm basically going to go through them in order. The first one you're going to see is who I least likely think it is, while the last one is going to be who I most likely think it is. So, let us begin. Yeah, now I don't exactly think that Highland Large killed Jason Blossom directly. If anything, I feel like he hired them. And to be honest, if you were to hire anybody, I think the next 3 to technically 5 people or suspects could basically fit into any of these tiers. And yeah, and even after that, he has perfect motivations. The best one being the fact that the Blossoms and him both recently have had connections. Prior to that, they've been paying them some kind of amount of money for a long time prior to the event of Riverdale. I believe some of it is discussed briefly during the Riverdale comic series, limited comic series that was produced before the show actually came out. And it's very interesting. I've read parts of it. I don't have the comics themselves, but I've read parts of it online, and it's pretty interesting in my opinion. I do like it myself. And yeah, so although I don't think he's the actual killer, I do think he could have possibly orchestrated the whole thing as a whole. And also, he has a perfect motive, them not being able to hire him anymore for whatever reason, maybe because they just don't want to, or maybe they just don't have enough money, whatever. So the perfect way to get back to them is to basically kill the heir to their empire, in this case, Jason Blossom. I mean, that's not to say that Cheryl couldn't have possibly also been an heir, but typically an heir is a male, usually the oldest one, and I believe it has been stated that Jason Blossom was older than Cheryl by like a few minutes to a few hours, if I'm not mistaken, because they are twins. So yeah, and very fast, very small complaint on the show, and this is just for any movie and show that portrays teenagers. But I know there's technically, if you pay attention, they're supposed to be in 10th grade, so they're supposed to be sophomores, yet they look like at least seniors. I know it's just me, but whatever, screw it, whatever. So yeah, I think Hiram, if anything, he's probably behind the scenes. I don't think it's the actual killer, because also wouldn't make sense for him to be the actual killer. But he possibly hired someone, and these, again, as I said before, these next 3 to technically 5 suspects, it would make sense for him to hire any of them. So yeah, now on to who the other suspect would be, in my opinion. Cheryl Blossom. So yeah, so did she love Jason? Maybe in ways that a sister shouldn't be loving her brother, and as time went on, did Jason just find it a little bit weird, and thus she went to Polly? Who knows, maybe Veronica is up to something. Maybe she cracked the whole mystery all by herself. But who honestly knows? Now, out of any of these suspects, I feel like Hiram connecting to Cheryl will be the most difficult to establish, in my opinion. And as to when, why, and how this could be made, the establishment, any connection between the two of them, will be maybe the most difficult to make. But I do think that you could somehow make some kind of excuse or find a way around it, in my opinion. So we could let it pass to a degree. Furthermore, again, she did have a real deep relationship with Jason, and who knows, maybe she loved Jason in ways that a sister shouldn't love her brother. The only problem with this, in my opinion, is the fact that if Cheryl would have killed Jason, it wouldn't have been a week afterwards. In my opinion, she would have been smart enough, especially if it's a headshot, she kind of would have realized, oh shit, he's dead. So yeah, furthermore, although her father does have guns, it seems like she has somewhat of a problem with guns. She doesn't like guns or gun talk, although her father is a hunter. So yeah, furthermore, when Veronica does accuse her of possibly murdering her brother, as well all the way back in episode 1 at the ending where she's arrested, it more or less shows that she has been cleared of any possible crimes related to the investigation thus far. But who knows? So yeah, now onto the ones who I think are in more deep consideration, especially after the events of the previous episode. So next up, I think it could either be FP Jones and or the South Side Serpents. So there was that conversation between Betty, Jughead, and his father FP around season episode 5 or 6, where he asked, we directly asked FP, have you murdered anybody? And his response was no. However, this could be kind of changed per se. FP probably has never directly murdered anybody. However, like Hiram, he could have orchestrated the murder of someone. So it could be taken from that perspective. Furthermore, there was a gun found in FP's trailer. However, Archie and Veronica both say that that gun, or the case that the gun was in, was never in the trailer when they went out and searched for him. Furthermore, I feel like as much of a badass or gang member, big gang member that FP is, I don't think he'd have the heart to kill a Blossom, given the fact who the Blossoms are, and the repercussions that could come from it. And certainly, up until now, he has been smart enough to basically evade any and all suspicions. He definitely does have something to do with it, in my opinion, but I do think, if anything, he's like the fallout guy or the fallback guy, where they're going to be putting the blame on if anything goes wrong, which is what appears to be happening now. So if anything, I do think he has something to do with it. However, I don't think he has as big a part in the murder as we are led to believe. However, he does have a pretty good motive to kill him, and that's the fact that Jason did steal drugs from him and a huge sum of money. So there is that. However, it's one of those things that you really wouldn't want to go after him, given the circumstances, given who he is, and all that. So for him, it is kind of a gray area, in my opinion. I do think he has something to do with it. I just don't think it's as big as people are making it out to believe. If anything, I feel like he's a fallback guy. And yeah, and furthermore, Hiram hiring FP, that will make perfect sense. He's a gang member. He's the leader of the Southside Serpents, where Mrs. Lodge is from, and it would just make perfect sense for them to even know each other. It just makes perfect sense for them to even have a way of communicating, in my opinion. So yeah, so I do feel like FP has something to do with it. FP and the Serpents may have something to do with it. I just don't think that the role is as big as it's led to believe. So last but not least, who do I think could be the murderer/ers? Let's find out. Alice and Hal Cooper. Very fast. Alice Cooper, fantastic musician. The character, a lot to be desired. The one in the show. So, yeah. So I feel like if I had to choose between either of these, who do I think is more likely to commit the murder? I'd go with Hal Cooper. However, I'm going to be putting both of them here because of the fact that they both more or less have a good motive, and that's the fact that they both hate the Blossoms. They want nothing to do with them, and they just never really like the idea of Polly being with Jason, and then with a baby, the revelation of a baby coming out, oh, the shit hit the fan. So yeah, I think both of them are capable of murder, actually. And although Alice may be the first choice for many people, given the fact that she has been hinted at the fact that she was herself a Southside Serpent, and just her deep hatred towards the Blossom, although she may be the obvious choice, I think they'd go with Hal, mostly because of the fact, one, he's not obvious, but because he has a bit more of a motive, and he has more background information based off what we know of him in relation to the Blossoms, and such as the fact that, for example, Alice never really knew that Hal wanted to get Jason Blossom's baby aborted. She never knew about that, and it seems like although she doesn't really like the fact, she is slowly accepting the fact that this is her new reality. It seems like she's slowly accepting the fact that this is her new reality. Jason Blossom's baby is going to be her grandchild, etc., 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 or children, because it's apparently twins. Are going to be her grandchildren, whereas Hal, he's in complete denial. So although I want to say that overtly, Alice Cooper may be the obvious choice between the two of them, I feel like they're going to go with Hal, also because it's a guy. It would just, it kind of just makes sense, in my opinion. Not to say you can't have a female murderer, but it's very unlikely, in my opinion. They also need to have a foil for Betty Cooper, and a great foil for her so far has been her mom. So yeah, and again, we haven't really had that much development with Hal, so who knows where they could take the story with him in that regard. Furthermore, in relations to Hiram Lodge, again, there's a great connection between them because, admittedly, Mrs. Lodge went to school with supposedly with the two Coopers as well, so there could be an interesting turn up of events with that. So yeah, if I had to choose between the two of them, I'd say they'd probably go with Hal just a little bit more by a smidge. But you know, it could be a tag team thing where they both planned to murder him, and then someone did and eventually murder him between the two of them. Who knows? But yeah, and that's basically who I think could have possibly killed Jason Blossom. Just to go over the list again, Hiram Lodge, I think he had something to do with it. However, I don't think he actually committed the murder himself. If anything, he orchestrated it. Cheryl Blossom, very unlikely out of any of these choices. However, I do like the idea that there could have been some kind of twin cest in there. FP Jones, he definitely has something to do with the murder. However, I don't think it's as big as people are leading it to believe. As for the Southside Serpents, again, that kind of falls under FP, and he could have orchestrated the murder and then have one of his laggies kind of do it. So there's that. And then as for the Coopers, I mean, they have the perfect motive. They basically hate the Blossoms. It just makes perfect sense also because aside from the Blossoms, aside from the Blossoms and the Andrews, and at this point the Lodges, they are the only other standout family in the whole neighborhood. I mean, the Jones kind of, but not really. It's debatable, but yeah. So yeah, and the Kellers, I guess, but they're the law. So what you're gonna do with that one? So yeah, that's basically it for now. What are your thoughts? Who do you think killed Jason Blossom? Do you have any other people? I've heard some pretty crazy theories, such as Archie possibly killing Jason Blossom. That would be interesting. You know, and one that I really don't like is Veronica killing Jason. It just wouldn't make sense at all, in my opinion. Betty killing Jason, that one would be interesting. Polly killing Jason, that's one I kind of thought of, but at the end, it just didn't make sense to me at all. And one of them, which I found really interesting, was Chuck killing Jason. That one I could kind of see, but not really. I mean, I've heard like Chuck and Moose kind of doing it, and Reggie, I mean, kind of see it, kind of don't, so, no, whatever. But what are your thoughts on it? Who do you think killed Jason? And yeah, leave that all in the comments down below. Like the video, share, and don't forget to subscribe. And this is The Theory.